I'm Georgina Hall, and this is the Female Empowered Podcast, inspired by the casual conversations I've had with thousands of women over my career in coaching. This is not just another wanky women's wellness podcast. We are bringing the uprising. Hi friends, welcome to the Female Empowered Podcast. I'm your host, Georgina Hall, personal trainer, online coach, and offerer of opinions. Today, once again, I am joined by my good friend, spiritual coach, spiritual healer, Kyla Edwards.
Hello and welcome. Thank you for having me back. How are you doing?
Welcome, welcome in, and thank you for coming back.
Always, of course, happy to be here in this good
Kyla,
vibes.
We need you. The world needs you.
The world needs love, peace and harmony. More love, more peace, more harmony. Like, that is so key. Like, I did a flow yesterday. I've been doing flows about what is going on because I'm not gonna lie, COVID has really sent me up the pole. I'm a bit of a freedom fighter, right? So it's really like cranked it up a little bit when it comes to my personal freedoms and whatnot. So I was like, okay, God, if you're listening, what is my lesson? What do I need to do? It was like, Kyla, you need to learn to be more flexible. You need to accept life on life's terms, and you need to walk through this. You need to let go, direct your fighting spirit in the positive direction. So me, I would be at protests usually. Like I was literally wanting to go protest, right? Different matter. We'll go down that route. But he was like, Kyla, direct your energy towards uplifting humanity. You've got a lot of gifts. Like whether it be you're a joyful person, you've got a very joyful heart, you're very determined, and you have a fighting spirit. Use that spirit to awaken and heal and empower others. And I was like, okay, I understand now. This is not my task. That's not my task. My task is just to be a beacon, hold the light, hold a torch, and awaken people to the fact that they are powerful. Like, we have become so reliant upon other humans to save us, right? Okay, I know that people turn to me for guidance and stuff like that, but I'm not here to save anybody. I'm here to empower people to save themselves. We look to other people to save us from ourselves, and this is what is happening on a mass scale. And I'm like, please awaken to your own innate abilities to heal yourself, to create freedom within yourself in like every aspect of life. So I get really passionate about that, and I guess I've been directing it the wrong way, right? But now I'm like, okay, what can I do? Well, I can teach people how to self-heal, how to meditate, how to journal, and just kind of reconnect with their own spirit, their own soul, so they can listen to themselves and actually discern from themselves what is true for them. Because ultimately, it doesn't matter about me or him, like whatever, because there's so much hate on the internet right now. It's unreal. People caught like judging each other, and if you've got that belief, you're a tin pot kind of alien kind of type thing. Do you know what I mean, right? You know, what is it? What's that thing? Not cockpit. What's that? Captain Spock or something? I don't know. Whatever it is.
What are you saying?
Captain
Star Trek.
Spock. Is that what it is? Yeah,
Star Trek,
Trek. A proper Star Trekker. Yeah, right, yeah.
For the purpose of the podcast listeners, Kyla is on video doing the Star Trek finger greeting.
Yes. I forget that we're not. You can't see that. Sorry, guys, I got confused.
Because we can see each other, she forgets that you can't see her.
It's all good.
Yeah, you are so right.
Kind of jazz.
And that is why you are our first repeat guest on this podcast, because you are correct. There's so much hateful, judgmental stuff going around the internet at the minute, and I think that's the main point for me, is that I've just taken a step back. I've stopped commenting on anything. I've stopped talking about what my thoughts and beliefs on the situation are, because I don't think it's helpful. And I think that I'd rather bring people like you into the light and give you a platform to speak to people, because I wholeheartedly agree that everybody needs to start with themselves before trying to convince other people that they're wrong or that they're right. And it's this just incessant need to be right all the time, isn't it?
Would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? I want to be happy. Do you know what I mean? Right? And like, all this kind of tit for tat, like calling people like each other out on the internet and stuff like that, and just not even having a constructive argument, but just attacking the person. Do you know what I mean? I think that's so hateful, and there's so much. I actually tested the level of consciousness of Facebook, because you can actually do that, right? So I actually tested with my little pendulum and stuff like that, and it was like
Let's stop there. I'm just going to break it down again. So tell us about the level of consciousness before you go on to tell us what the testing came out as.
All right. Yeah. So basically, so in the universe, so David Hawkins, he created this, it's like a graph, and the level of consciousness is basically your frequency and vibration. So we've all got your fields of information, your electromagnetic field. You can't see this, but if you clap your hands, rub it together really, really, really hard.
For the purpose of the listeners, Kyla is rubbing her hands together.
We'll do this, we'll show it live, right, as well. But you can feel your chi, so your field, you are an electromagnetic field. A field of energy has charge, it has a frequency, it has a vibration. That has a level, has a layer, right? So it goes from 0 to 1,000. 1,000 being like Jesus, fully enlightened, like the Buddha. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's kind of,
that's the goal, isn't it?
That's the highest goal. That is the goal. That's the highest goal in human form. 0 being pretty much close to death. Like when I started my healing journey, I was like 9 in terms of my own level of. I was like proper low vibrant. I was a very low low vibrational field. Drugs and alcohol, it will lower your vibe. Telling you, man. So it goes up from 0 to 200. You've got things like shame. You've got fear. You've got pride. You've got anger, like all of these different very, very low vibrational energies at the below 200. So what that does, that's like the anti-life, I guess. It will suck the life force out of you. It pulls you down. Like, you know, if you feel angry, if you're feeling fearful, it's like entropy, it's chaos. Like, you can't see, your clarity is foggy. You know, you might feel depressed. You might think you'd be looking, you're hyperactive. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's chaos, internal chaos. So from 0 to 200, underneath that, that's when your fields of information is not working in harmony. There's disharmony. So the lower you go, the more chaos, the more disharmony, the more entropy, which is what we use in quantum physics, there will be. So
in layman's terms, all of the shit feelings, shame, anger, fear, all of the crap, that's low level, and all of the good stuff, inner peace, enlightenment, happiness, is all up there in the 1,000 range. Yeah. So tell us, what was Facebook?
Yeah. So like 20. I'll do a check.
Kyla's
21.
Just
21.
God.
Checking 21. So it's 21. 21, right? So I think shame.
21 out of 1,000.
Yeah, so you can see people's egos are interacting with other people's egos and throwing shame. It's like throwing shame. I'm going to throw my shame at you, and then I'm just going to take it back because I threw shame in the first place. Do you know what I mean? So there's no, like, you're not going to get anywhere. Just throwing shame at people. What's the point? Pointless task. And like, so 500 is where love is. That's when that's like 500 or above. That's where it's the healing light. So when you get to that level of consciousness, 500 or above, that's when you start to see yourself more as one with the universe. Like your thinking starts to change. You can see more perspectives, and you start to be governed more by your heart and your soul as opposed to your ego and like your perception of what is right or wrong. Kind of think there is no right or wrong, because right and wrong, well, that's a perception in itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
So positive or negative, just see it like that. So yeah, for me, like I've had to learn a lot of lessons because I had quite a bit of anger came up for me during this lockdown. Not because it's because for me it was seeing this whole light and dark. We talk about this in the spiritual world, light versus dark, blah blah blah, and I felt powerless. Do you know what it was? I felt powerless to do anything about it. I can see what's happening overall, and I felt powerless. And because I felt powerless, I felt shame as a result of that feeling of being powerless to have control over the situation. But the truth is, somebody might be able to control my body, blah blah blah, the world around me, but nobody can control my spirit. That belongs to the Tao. That belongs to Source. That belongs to God. Nobody, no human can control who I am on a fundamental level. It's just been a process of letting that go, setting positive intentions, putting one foot in the other, and every time something comes up for me, like when I get triggered, which you've seen it as my friend, I get triggered, right? And doing the healing work and just following nature's way, right? We talk about following nature's way. You look at nature, like there's no right or wrong. It kind of, when you look at trees or plants, when they're shooting up towards the light, towards the sun, they don't follow a direction. They follow the natural way towards the light. There's no like, we have to go straight up. We have to do it like this. It doesn't work like that. Life doesn't work like that.
I've got a really good cheese plant in my house, and that is a perfect visual representation of that, because you'll turn it around and then the next day the leaves and the stems have moved again to face the window, and then I might turn it around again, and then the next day I've watched them, they've moved. Be the plant.
Be the plant. Just follow, head towards the light. Do you know what I mean? Like in simple layman's terms, right? Walk towards the light, no matter how long it takes, like how much crap you've kind of got to get through. Just keep walking towards the light, because as the flower, as your whatever cheese plant, it just keeps going. It's quietly persistent humility. Just boom, keep going. I'm going to get through. I'm going to receive the light. I'm going to keep going and keep growing, and that's it. That's what we want to do.
So let's stop on this thought for a little while, Kyla, because I think this is exactly where I feel like, from talking to my clients today and talking from my group today and feeling the kind of global stress. Did you ever learn about pathetic fallacy in English literature? It's where the mood echoes the weather. And today I'm looking outside, it's grey, it's been a little bit snowy, a little bit rainy, a little bit meh. And for the on the video, you can see that I have turned up to this podcast wrapped in a blanket. The listeners will not be able to hear that, but it kind of... Thanks very much. It's a Fair Isle. It's very wintry. It's very cozy. But I just feel like today I need to be wrapped in a blanket. I've got up this morning. I've done Pilates. I've been for a walk outside to the beach. I've been in nature. I've watered my plants. I've done the good stuff. I've eaten fruit and vegetables. I've done the stuff that I need to do to kind of put me in a healthy mood. And I'm still feeling a bit meh. And I've got clients chatting to us as well who are homeschooling. They don't know when the kids are going to be able to see their grandparents again. They're trying to work. My friend messaged me and said, I've done no steps today because I've been learning about adverbs. What do we do when we know we need to keep walking towards the light, but we can't be arsed, Kyla? We just want to wrap ourselves up in a blanket and watch Bridgerton. What do we do?
Well, sometimes you just got to do that, right? Sometimes the the biggest kind of transformation happens in non-action. Do you know what I mean? So who's to say that walking towards the light means you have to be continuously walking? Maybe sometimes it's actually stopping and reflecting on where you are. Sometimes it might be actually, I need to rest today because I've been walking too hard or too fast to get into this direction. Heading towards the light doesn't mean that you have to keep pushing through. Like the ego will say, I have to force this, I have to force moving forward because that is what I've been told to do. You know, stiff upper lip and all that kind of jazz, you know, as we British kind of do, just kind of ignore ourselves, ignore our feelings. What if, you know, heading towards the light is actually just taking stock on where you are and actually going, okay, this is where I'm at, this is what is going on in my life, what is best for me to move through this with the greatest ease. So when we try to push things and we resist things, that actually is causing, it's like, what is it? So you put, it's like creating more force against you. So if your body is saying, actually, I need to rest, I need to sit back, I need to chill out a little bit today, if you continue to force it and ignore yourself, you're not actually acknowledging, not respecting your soul, you've been causing it a disservice, and that is the ego. When you push through because you think you have to, because you think you're not good enough, or you're going to be less than for not being the best parent, for not knowing the adverbs. I don't even know what adverb is anymore. Do you know what I mean? I don't like all this kind of stuff. I just don't like.
Doesn't come up really, does it?
Like hats off. No. So just like, what can you do? How can you make this more fun or more passable for yourself at this time?
I like this, and it's kind of speaking my language. Because it's a likened to a good training regime. So if you are doing a weight training program, a good program is going to program in rest as part of the plan. People think that more is better oftentimes with exercise, and it sounds exactly like the spiritual journey or mindfulness journey, psychological journey, is that yes, there is work to do, but rest and knowing when to step back is just as important. And it's actually when the magic happens in muscle building terms. Rest is when the growth happens. Well,
I'm totally down with that. Like, I'm very much in my masculine energy. Like, I've had to learn to listen to my soul. I ask my soul every single morning. I ask what it wants to do today. Like, how does it want to serve? And
how do you do that?
Well, I mean, how do I do that? Okay, so how do I do that?
How does one do that?
So me, I'll get into a meditative condition. I connect to my soul and I ask a question: what is the guidance for me is today? Okay, so I kind of visualize light in your message center. Okay, and you've got to really focus on the breath.
And your message center is your heart, right?
Oh, it's the heart chakra. Sorry, yeah, Master Shah teachings. It's the message center, so you can connect to that. And if you sit there, like I chant soul language, I won't do that now. I can do that silently. So you just sit and listen, and it's like a little whisper. It's like a tiny little whisper, like that's not coming from like consciousness. It's like it's coming up. It's like you're vomiting words in a way. You don't know what's going to come out of your mouth. It just kind of comes up like that, and you're like, oh, okay, fair enough. So for me today, like this is my day off. So I'm like learning about business, all these different things, getting myself all overwhelmed and stuff like that. So today it was like, you need to dance, you need to read, and you need to have fun. Like, right, okay, fair enough. That's what it wants to do today.
I do.
So I watched Mulan. I haven't had a dance. I haven't read yet, but I will. Yeah, and I love that. Cries, so soft.
It's a really good film. I really like it.
Yeah, you can do it through journaling. You can just ask, like, if you spend some time, get into the meditative state. Always get into a quiet state. Focus on your breath. Take some deep breaths. And you ask, what do you want to do today? Dear my beloved soul, write down the question, What do you want to do today? And then just feel the words, allow the words to flow freely, right? It might even be one word, it might be love. So like, okay, so if it's love, well, what loving things can you do for yourself today? Right? You can interpret.
I'm going to do that when we get off this call. I'm going to ask my soul what it wants to do today, and I'm going to start writing, and then I'll let you know.
Yeah. It could be literally one word. And if it is, every time you receive a message from yourself, give thanks. Always give thanks, because that is like you're building a relationship with yourself. You're nurturing and cultivating a relationship with yourself, with your true self, not the ego, not what everybody else has told you, with your true higher self that is connected to everything. Like, that is a precious relationship to have.
And this is how we start to align with our soul, and we start to live in harmony with ourselves, don't we? Without that inner conflict that comes from us trying to power through, or trying to be something that we're not meant to be, or trying to act when we're just meant to be, or trying to do when we're just meant to rest.
Exactly. Like, it's learning. When you start to cultivate that relationship, you learn to kind of follow. Like, the soul is the boss. This is what Master Shah teaches. The soul is the boss, and when we try to force things, that's the ego pushing through. When you push through with the ego, at some point, something's got to give. You don't get nothing free in the universe. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're forcing things in kind of, and it isn't in alignment with your soul's purpose, then that's how you start to create blockages. So this is what we say in the teaching. They're called Shen, Qi, and Jing. So I'll explain what that is, right? So soul, heart, mind, energy, and matter. So the soul is information. So like when you have a data warehouse, I'm sure there's like plenty of business people here or whatever, right? So a data warehouse contains lots of information that runs the rest of the business. They make decisions based on that information, right? So your soul, right, your body's soul is like a data warehouse. It contains lots of information from all of your previous lifetimes, if you believe in that, or all of your experiences, your ancestors' experience, because you carry your ancestral stuff as well. So if you think your mind is receiving information from your soul, it can only make decisions and process the information based on what it's got. Do you know what I mean? So that's how it kind of it flows from the inside out, right? So if the soul's saying, right, we need to heal. I'm feeling sick. I'm feeling worthless right now, right? So it's giving you warning signs. It's like making you talk negatively towards yourself. That's a warning sign saying the soul's sick. Do something about it. I'm sick here. You ain't listening to me. Hear me, right? And it gets louder and louder and louder, and to the point where you're like, okay, I can't do. Like, either give up, start drinking way too much, you do everything you can to block it out, right? All it's saying is, I have a message. I'm in pain. Transform me, heal me. We need to work together on this, right? So if that is it, but you're going, no, I'm going to push through this. I'm not listening. I know best. Then what, you feel stress, you get anxious, you have physical pain, because actually a lot of physical pain is a link to emotional and mental things. It's not actually like a physical injury, like lower back pain, for example. Most of that stuff is like emotional baggage that people have. Like most times, the people I work with, they'll start to feel like better in their bodies in terms of physical pain that is lessened. It's because it's
stored tension, isn't it?
Is dense.
Yeah,
you carry it. It's like, you know what I mean? You've got all that tension, all that chaos within your body.
You do hear that a lot in yoga as well. Hip openers tend to be where you let go of emotion. If you've got tight hips, apparently it's where you store emotion. And when you do things like child's pose and different hip opener exercises, it can cause an emotional response.
Yeah. Well, I used to do Bikram and stuff like that. Like the back bends to make me like literally want to chunder.
Oh, same. That's how I feel with the back bend.
Honestly, I had to like turn around because I was like, I'm gonna vomit if I don't get out of this pose. Like, absolute, couldn't do it. Honestly, took me so long to get it.
I don't
To
like a
release
back
the
bend.
energy and all that sort of stuff.
What does that mean? What do I need to release, Kyla?
Man, I can remember doing it once when I was hungover. What, from your back bend? I have no idea. I think we've all got all kinds of stuff, haven't we? Do you know what I mean?
You don't want to
what
do
have we got that we don't need to release? That's the enlightenment journey.
Bikram yoga when you're hungover, just to go back to that point. I think
Don't
there's a
wanna do
little bit of a
Bikram.
delay here. But Bikram yoga on a hangover sounds like the worst idea. You're already dehydrated. So to then go into a hot yoga class doesn't seem like the most sensible.
It was actually, I've never felt like I literally, imagine being in hell. I was in hell. Like, that was the closest I've ever been to hell. I swear to God. Like,
it'll feel literally like hell because of the heat as well.
It's bringing back memories now. I need to clean those.
I don't know what you were thinking. So going back to that, being out of alignment with yourself, or self-betrayal, maybe even. How does that link to people pleasing, which is something that I've been asked about for you? People pleasing, is that a betrayal of oneself? Is that ego based?
See, this is an interesting question, because we like to think that being selfless, right? This is the thing. Selflessness and self-seeking, right? So close together. We might
I love this.
Do things for other people, but then we want recognition. Yeah, we want recognition for it. We want to get something in return. So actually, we want to receive love. We want to receive recognition. We want to receive reward, or whatever it may be, right? So actually, that's like people pleasing. You're doing some things for a personal gain that is ego based. Doing things selflessly, you do it and you don't tell people that you've done it. You do it.
You don't expect anything back from it.
You don't expect anything back. And like when you go, well, you know, like, oh, well, I did this for this person, blah blah blah, and I do this for this, and do all these things for all these people, but they don't show me any respect and all this sort of stuff. Blah blah blah. Well, why do you expect it? What are you doing it for? You're doing it because your ego wants it. Your ego needs that recognition, that reward. So it's an ego thing. Selflessness and self-seeking. Oh, don't confuse the two.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So you've got to be really careful. Do you feel expansive when you're doing it? Do you actually feel joy? Do you forget the fact that I'm doing it? Or do you think, oh, well, I really don't want to do this. But I have to. When you start saying, I have to do this, I'm going to do it, because if I don't, they're going to think that I'm like X, Y, Z, like I'm like a really bad person and stuff like this. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, or if I don't go to this event, then, you know, they're going to call us boring and stuff like that. Like, or if I don't give her this money, if I don't lend that 100 quid to me mate, then like she won't be my friend anymore. Like, you might think that you're being a really good person, but actually you are probably a really good person, don't get us wrong, but it's an ego thing. Yeah, it's like you're doing it because there's a lack of love for yourself. There's like that lack of connection, that lack of respect. I'm going to say that
it's external validation, isn't it?
Yeah, we all do it, right? We want to be loved. We want to be needed, wanted, and loved. Humans, you know, because if we weren't needed, we weren't wanted, and we weren't loved in tribal times, we would be dead.
Well, it's why community is such a massive thing as well, and it's something that people are really missing from lockdown. Community is a basic human need. We need to feel part of something bigger than ourselves. Yeah, we feel connected to other humans.
We do need to feel connected to other humans, and you know, one of the things that's really helped me through lockdown is actually connecting to spirit. And I know it sounds a bit fluffy and a bit like woo-woo, but it's really true. Like, sometimes I know, even when I haven't been in lockdown and I've been surrounded by loads and loads of people, that I've never felt more lonely in my entire life. Right? So just because you're in a community doesn't mean that you're surrounded by love. There's like this confusion that being surrounded by people, that means we're loved and all this kind of stuff. But what COVID has done is actually taken away the illusion. So now what is all everything who you are has been revealed. Like the pain, the suffering has been just come out. And it's like,
and I think that is quite a good thing about COVID, actually, isn't it? It's made us all slow the hell down. And some people are so busy trying to fill that void and cover up these thoughts that are usually covered up with people and work and shopping and going there and doing this, that now being in the house with only themselves as company and only their thoughts, they literally do anything to try and cover that up. Baking banana bread, watching full series on Netflix, which are all
well,
perfectly fine things, and they're not bad as a coping mechanism, but like you say, it is a distraction.
It's a distraction.
We actually need to be doing.
Yeah, and that's like there's levels of like. So what my teacher says to me, right? So when I go through those painful times, she's like, Kyla, your frequency's taking a dip. So what you need to do is use something with a higher vibration to pull you up. Okay. So like going for a walk, feeling connected to nature, right? That's, if I'm down here, nature's like up here and it's going to pull me up. Like the highest level of transformation for me, the highest level of act that I can give myself is to do a meditation and connect to the Tao and do that stuff. But sometimes I just don't want to, right? Because the heaviness is so intense. I'm like, I can't even pick myself up the floor right now to go and chant for an hour. It just seems so.
Well, it goes back to what we said, isn't it? Where we're on the path to the light, or we're on the path of self-development, but sometimes we need to sit down and rest. Sometimes we don't want to keep walking. Sometimes we do just want to sit down and wrap ourselves in a blanket and watch Bridgerton. And that is fine as well.
That's cool. As long as you're not like, for me, as long as it's not anti-life.
If it's not detrimental to your actual health, quality of life, then sometimes it's exactly what we need.
Yeah, like
self-parenting, isn't it? If you've got a baby, sometimes you need to wrap it up and cuddle it. So likewise with a child, sometimes you need to tell it off and you need a little bit of discipline.
Yeah, that's true. And I've got a plan. I've got different things. Like when I first started recovery, like my teacher, my mentor, she's like, you need a plan. So every time you go, or you want to pick up a drink or you want to take a drug, you need to go and do this. You need to go and do this, get your plan together and get yourself out of it. Do not pick up a drink, because if you do that, then you're going to kind of like mess up your whole stuff. So I've just got a plan. So I've got a plan, like maybe it's folding yam bao, like gratitude. I'll go for a walk. Like I like to meditate when I'm walking. I just like to hear things. Do you know what I mean? Or I'll go connect.
And this is a great takeaway, isn't it? For everybody who's listening right now, this is a great takeaway, because what it's doing is it's filling your tool belt before you need to do any DIY. That's the full metaphor. So what it is knowing that if you want to go with the DIY metaphor, you know at some point your picture might fall off the wall, or your kettle might need a new fuse, or you might need a new light bulb. So it's getting all your tools ready to go for when that happens. If you wait until the time happens, i.e. when you have a mental spiritual breakdown, when you are feeling depressed, when you need to emotional eat, if you wait until those points, it's going to be too late. So recognize what they might be, recognize what might trigger them, and have something in place before it happens in order to deal with it. So if you know you are prone to emotional eating, and you know that Boris's announcement might trigger that, then have a plan in place. Walk in nature before you listen to it. Do you need to listen to it? Journal afterwards. Journal your feeling. Before you go straight to the cupboard to pick out the biscuits that you usually use to numb your feelings, write your feelings down. Meditate. All those things that you've just listed, which are self-care tools. Again?
Oh, right, yeah, sorry, yeah, you know, that's it. And like, I know my triggers. I know exactly, like social media as a map can be a map. I've learned that actually. 2020 was really, really powerful for me in terms of learning how much I still compare myself and put myself down. think, oh, I didn't say that right, I didn't do this right, I should have done this, I've got a grammatical error there, like blah blah. Do you know, all these little things, right? And I'll punish myself. I'm so proper into that. So I've learned, like, when I'm going through this and like seeking validation, people pleasing, I've done it all. And I've learned the lessons. And when I go into those, like, feeling like a failure was a massive thing. Like, I wasn't doing good enough, blah blah blah. I had these expectations because, you know, we get taught that if you're not a millionaire, if you're not doing this, you're not doing that, like, you're not going 100 miles an hour, that you're a failure, that you're good for nothing, that you're not worthy of society, of friend, whatever it is, right? I might be being a little bit dramatic here, but, you know, that is ingrained in us.
There is definitely a thing in our society and culture of productivity equating to success.
Yeah, and I totally believed the lie. I mean, I did a post yesterday about the lies that I've been telling myself, and that was all like that stuff coming up. Like, it's like peeling back the onion layer. Like, healing, it doesn't happen all at once. You will only heal what you're ready to heal, and you'll just keep going and keep empowering yourself, because when you heal, you start doing more things, and you start having the confidence to put yourself, you know, take yourself out of your comfort zone and stuff like that. So then more things will come up for you. You'll take yourself out of your comfort zone and think, oh, hello, what's this again? I'm feeling insecure about myself. Oh, I thought I dealt with that. Well, I did deal with that, but I was doing other things then. I was doing things that weren't as, I don't know, putting myself out there as much. I was hiding a little bit. So the more that I'm kind of like coming out, well, hey, again.
That was years ago, wasn't it?
Yes, I've always wanted to get that in there. Get in, coming out again. The more that I'm coming out, like the beautiful butterfly that I am.
Yes, you are.
You kind of, the more stuff that comes up, for you. Do you know what I mean? Because you think, okay, I need to work on this. It's like, I'm now ready to embrace this new part of myself. I've uncovered this new part of myself. So you allow that to shine for a little bit. Then you get used to doing these new things, and like, right, okay, my soul, I'm listening to my soul, I need to do this. And it's like, it's taking you up this mountaintop to the peak, and you keep delayering yourself, and you uncover more and more and more and more, and you think, well, this is not working. But it is, because would you have been doing these things that you're doing now 6 months, 12 months ago? Probably not. You know, you're still probably people pleasing. I say no to people now. I say no to people. That having to say no was a real made me feel uncomfortable.
It's important. It's a boundary, isn't it? It's a personal boundary.
Setting boundaries is so important. Like, I've started to do that more and more, like, and really saying what I want to say in a nice kind of diplomatic way, not like didn't want anything. I word it politely, but I actually say what I want to say without thinking like, oh, but maybe I need to tone it down a little bit, or blah blah blah, or do you know what I mean? I need to say it like, I'll kind of say something, delete it, and I'll write it again in a kind of like version of what I want to say.
Put a smiley emoji on the end of it.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'll just change it completely. Yeah, you're a div. Smiley face. Yeah, but actually I'm thinking that. So yeah, so setting, like, being able to say no and actually being able to say yes. Like, it's both sides. Like, saying yes to things that you want to do, but you think, actually, if I do that, like, people are gonna laugh at me, people are gonna judge me, you know, what if I get it wrong? So it works on, it's like yin and yang, being able to say yes to more things, but then also saying no to the things that aren't going to serve your soul,
Gives
but
you
then
time.
saying yes to things that will serve your soul, but you're afraid of.
Yeah.
It's like thinking, is this going to empower me, or is this going to disempower me? It's a simple question to ask yourself, and just connect to your soul, connect to your heart, listen to your heart. Stop listening to your head. Sometimes your head has got it so wrong. Right? We get taught to listen to our heads. We have to be logical all the time. But like, The right side of the brain is the creative, it's the inspiration. That's where the soul is given its information. You need to have balance between the two, the left brain and the creative side, the inspiration, the love, that spirit, you know, and acting on spirit rather than thinking, actually, well, I can't see how this is going to play out. I'm not going to do this. I can't see the result. We kind of like quash our dreams because we can't see the end result, so we'll play it smaller rather than going for what we really want and going, actually, I can't see how I'm going to get here. I don't have the skills, blah blah blah, but this is what I really want to do. Like, but then we'll go, well, actually, I'm just going to do this because I've got this skill, I've got this skill, I've got this skill. You know, it doesn't light me up. I don't really like it. I'm going to do this because that's what the logical brain's saying. But your spiritual
like job-wise,
side,
like if
that's where I want to be.
So if you've done a degree in something, you think, oh, well, I have to have a job now that's related to that degree because I've already put that amount of time, effort, money into it. But actually, you didn't really enjoy doing your degree. And instead of just writing that off as a learning experience and change direction, you feel like you're stuck in a job that relates to a degree that you hated.
To a degree that you hated. I dropped out of my degree twice. I did a law degree, I did a criminology degree, and then I did a HR degree, right? So there we go, there's a little secret for talk about I know where they go. There's a backstory to this, but we won't go down that route today. So
my degree is in contemporary acting, and if I had remained attached to that goal, I would be in a very different position to where I am now. But I still think that the acting degree serves me every single day on my new path.
100%. 100%. You are theatrical beyond compare, so it definitely serves you.
Thank you.
But, and this is it. You know, that's true though. Like, we get so, but like my mum, I was like, she started her nursing degree at 45 years. Actually, when she did a GCSEs because she didn't have any qualifications. She didn't have any qualifications. She was a hairdresser. Like, she was a hairdresser. Not that there's like nothing wrong with being a hairdresser, right? But she wanted to be a nurse. When she was a kid, she wanted to be a nurse. But then she met my dad. Went really well. Like, she met my dad and had
brush past that quickly.
Yeah, there's lots of challenging times, right? So people would tell her she wasn't intelligent enough to be a nurse or this sort of stuff. So she stuck doing like something that didn't really make her happy. Like, hairdressing was great because everybody would tell their problems to my mum. Do you know what I mean? She's like that person that people will tell their problems to her. And I think like hairdressers are really good for that because they're like, people just openly share what's going on in their lives, right? So she did that. So she left school, had no GCSEs, no qualifications, and at 45 she's like, I'm going to do it. Well, I need to do this for my kids because we were like homeless and stuff like that, and I need to like actually be able to provide for my children. So she's like, I'm going to do this. So actually the fear was good in that instance because it pushed her. It's like fear of like not having a home for my children, or fear about not being good enough. Well, the fear of not having a home was greater than the other fear, so that pushed her to go and do something that she needed to do, which was get the qualifications, the maths qualifications and all that kind of stuff, go back to school, do her GCSEs, and then go to university to do a nursing degree. Now she's a mental health nurse, a senior mental health nurse. Do you know what I mean? So like, and that was at 45 she started to do that. She didn't have no self-belief. She didn't have anything. Like, do you know what I mean? So you can do it. It doesn't matter how far you've down the track you've been doing it. Like, you could have a full-time job. What's stopping you from getting the skills to do something that you really want to do? Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, you don't, like, going after what you want doesn't mean you have to stop everything, give up all of your responsibilities, and kind of go, you know what, I'm off. See you later. Because how's that serving your soul as well? That's not really serving your soul either. You know what I mean? Because then you're going to put yourself in a difficult situation where you're going to probably experience more lessons because you've listened to your ego and thought, I'm just going to F it and do whatever and not follow follow step by step. Like, okay, dear soul, what is my next step? I do that in the shower. What's my next move? What is my next move now, today. Like another thing, what's my next move? Just tell me what my next move is, and I'll do it. Because I'll see an end goal, and I need it now. Like, cause I'm hedonistic. I'm driven by instant gratification, right? So I've had to learn that. I've learned the hard way of giving up everything and leaving. I've done it twice. I moved to Australia, got into loads of debt, right? Did it one way and then I did it coming back. Thank God. Actually, to be fair though, that worked out better for me in the end. Because I thought it'd be super easy and I could do it. Totally, no thought given to it. Ego, right? I'm just gonna go, bang. So many lessons. My ego taking so many total battering, right? So now, keep it simple. What is my next move? Listen.
That is a lesson from Brené Brown and also Frozen 2. Do the next right thing. I don't know which came first, but I've heard them both say it. Do the next right thing.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Went all crackly. What did you say? From Brené Brown and who?
Frozen 2.
Oh, well, there we go. See?
Both equally
Wisdom.
Profound. Yeah.
It's true though. It's like, it's true. Just do the next right thing. Put one foot in front of the other. Like, you see this target, like you have like, oh, I need to get overwhelm yourself where you sort of try picture the entire journey all at once, because how can you possibly see the entire journey all at once? You don't know what's going to happen. I definitely didn't think COVID. I knew there was a transition period coming. I knew that Mother Earth, you actually Google it, you can Google and ask, is Mother Earth's frequency changing? You will see scientifically, people have measured the frequency of Mother Earth and it's actually getting higher. So we're moving into a high frequency with that. No, there's like sign. It's actually like that kind of the beating of the heart, like Mother Earth's heartbeat. That's the So it's changing. It's raising. Mother Earth is literally raising her vibration. So with that, if Mother Earth is here and we're down here, then stuff's going to happen to purge us, to activate our blockages.
What's the vibration of this podcast, Kyla?
Oh, don't ask me. Right, okay, I'll check.
For the purpose of the listeners who can't see us, if you do want to see us, by the way, you just need to go onto YouTube and search Female Empowered and you will be able to watch the videos of all of the interviews. Kyla is checking in with the universe. She's in a meditative state. She's going to find out the frequency of this podcast.
556.
Yeah!
We're connected to love. We're connected to love.
Oh my goodness. Go us. Raising vibrations all over the place. 556. What a good number. I need to try not to let my ego run away with that number.
No, don't. No. See, this is it, right? I always think, do my Master Shah teaches the Shenkoi. So it's like your actions, your speech and your thoughts. All right. So it's really easy, especially when you're working in personal development, especially like us where we do like female empowerment and stuff. It's really easy to kind of fall into that like judgmental kind of vibe, like breaking down the systems and all this sort of stuff, because I can do that. I can like, well, this happened, and I can, when I'm watching TV, like I can get proper activated. I can feel my rage in my heart, my spirit. Like I'm a fire. My element is a fire element, so I've got a really good passionate heart. And then what is it? The Chinese. I'm a rabbit, but I'm a fire rabbit. So I'm very.
I'm a fire rabbit as well. A little fire buddy.
so
we're cute, but don't mess with us.
You basically, yeah. So I have to mind myself. So I'm like, okay, so what I'm saying here, is it carrying a positive message? Does it carry a positive energy? But also, am I getting my point across where it doesn't actually cause more judgment against, like, towards the others, like to the other souls? It's a really like fine line to walk, to be able to say your message in a way that isn't kind of judgmental and a bit self-righteous.
Yeah, and I think that being in the middle ground and like that sitting on the fence position, people think as a negative thing, and actually I think that it can be a completely positive and more often than not more useful place to be.
Yeah.
Either side.
Yeah, this is the thing. We live in a yin-yang world, so there's yin, there's positive and negative, okay? Not disputing that. So the Tao teaching, Tao creates 1, 2 creates 3, and 3 creates all things. So heaven and Mother Earth, it lives in the yin-yang world. So it's sitting on the fence is not like kind of, oh yeah, we're all one. When technically we are actually all one, right? So it's having that awareness. And for me, I'm gay, I'm mixed race, right? So there's 2 things. Okay, I could literally get on I'm a woman. I could get on my high horse on so many things, and I choose not to, because ultimately, how is that serving humanity's evolution? How is it actually serving the greater purpose of love, peace, and harmony? Because actually, what I'm really doing is just covering my shame in this kind of justified argument. It's like I'm justifying my anger and stuff like that. This you know, this viewpoint that we should be doing this, because I won't talk down the racial route and stuff like that. I won't take it there, right? But for me, I will not say that, like, I won't F the patriarchy and all that kind of stuff. I won't use that language, because for me personally, that is not going to contribute to humanity's evolution, because that in itself is actually contributing negative information, energy and matter back into the field. So this field, our entire consciousness, is a field of information. So I'm contributing to this field, this bigger field. You're contributing to this bigger field. Everybody's contributing to this bigger field. So if I go like that and actually start acting in that way, what am I actually contributing? I might think, my ego might think I'm doing the right thing, because yes, we should be equal. We shouldn't have to, you know, it was like 1912 when they started, you know, women's toilets outside, for God's sakes, because men wanted to control when women could go to the toilet, right? So we wouldn't have toilets for women outside. That wasn't actually that long ago. So we should be equal. We shouldn't see colour, differences and all this kind of stuff. We shouldn't say that. We shouldn't have to fight for that.
I think what I would say on that is that for me, awareness is what's important. So if somebody says something racist, sexist, homophobic on the internet, if you chime in getting angry at them and lecturing them and telling them that they are wrong, whether they are or not, isn't helpful, because it's going to put them in a defensive position, and they're not going to be open to learning about what you're saying. What I like to do is ask questions. I probably sometimes do it in a maybe provocative manner. But I think that I think sometimes just asking why is more helpful as a whole than going in on somebody.
Going in on someone, they're going to get the back up, going to get 100% get their back up, right? So we are a product, yes, our souls, we have our own soul and our own journeys, but we are also a product of the system that we've been born into, right? So we'll get, because the veil of, you know, when we're born, we forget past lives and all that sort of stuff, right? So we're born, we get told X, Y, Z. So if you're not born racist, you know what I mean? People aren't born racist, they learn. Like my kid, oh my God, I'll tell you a story, right? So my nieces, they couldn't understand, right? Because obviously I'm black, so they don't see colour. And I was like, it was so precious. They didn't see me as any different to them. Do you know what I mean? Which I thought is a really beautiful thing, from the innocence of a child who has been taught to love people equally. She couldn't understand why people would be so awful, because she was like, well, Auntie Kyla's black. She's not horrible. She's a nice person. Like, she couldn't understand it. She just, in her mind, she couldn't fathom like that race, how people could be racist. So it's where did they pick up those beliefs from? Who taught them to hate, right? So for me, it's like, how can we teach you to love? How can we teach people to love each other? And attacking somebody else for their beliefs, well, that's just teaching them how to hate even more, because they're going to attack me back. So I'm just kind of reinforcing their belief in the first place. They're telling me X, Y, Z, and I go, boom. Well, they go, well, look what you've just done. Look what you've just come in. You just proved my point.
And it's actually like, I've struggled with that with homophobia. If somebody is homophobic, the last thing that you want to do is be the gay person with a chip on your shoulder.
Oh yeah, I know that one.
So sometimes I do feel like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, because you're going, well, it's not for me to have to explain to somebody why you shouldn't be homophobic. There's no point in me getting angry about that. And there's no point in me, there's almost no point in me defending myself.
Yeah, I know. It's
because
really,
defending yourself isn't really the right term, is it? It's more, rather than defend, you kind of need to over-program the bullshit.
Yeah. You need to transcend it. You need to
transcend, that's the word. We're trying to transcend the bullshit.
So this is what divine guidance said. It's like, you need to learn to transcend. So when we transcend something, so let's say if enough of humanity learn to love each other, right? So we'll raise up against this below field, because we live in consciousness. We're in fear. We're like vibing at fear, right? So there's loads of fear. So if we learn to go into the field of love, then our thoughts are going to be more loving. If enough people can create this new field, then naturally other people will start to rise. Or their souls will go off somewhere else, whatever, right? But if enough people are here, then we can create a new field, enough change. That's when change, that's like what you call that word? Not a mass exodus, critical mass, right? You have enough people that are empowered, that all this fear, all these fear-based systems, they'll stop, right? Because then the people who are spouting all the fear, like, well, actually, that's true. Like, how did I even get this? How do I even believe this? And we start to create that change, because then our descendants, we teach them something new. So the more people heal, the more that we can create that love within each other, then we can actually pass that message on. If we go in there being defensive and being attacking other people, because we've got our own shame that we're carrying, and our own, that we're oppressing ourselves, because that's really what we're doing.
Yeah,
we're feeling
exactly.
Oppressed.
Yeah.
So if we can heal that, just our own heart disturbances, then we can actually go, no, this is a different way. Be the right tomato.
Be the right tomato. Yeah.
Be the right tomato, right? Because people think, well, I want what she's got. My way's not working. I'm not happy. But she looks really happy. She looks really fulfilled. She's glowing. I want to be like her. How can I be like you? I want what you've got. Well, if you do this, this, and this. All right, okay, I'm listening now.
It makes for a much more peaceful life, doesn't it?
Be the right. Yeah. Stop fighting.
Yeah.
Heal.
Stop slagging people off.
Stop fighting.
Stop taking people's arseholery personal, because there's a reason that they're being an arsehole. And once you start to go, I wonder why they're being an arsehole, and have empathy for them, it puts you in a more peaceful and powerful position.
100%. Like, I've done some really horrible things to people. Like, I'm not like, I'm here talking about spirituality and stuff like that, but I've got a past, right? Every sinner has a future, and every saint has a past. Like, I've been in trouble with the police, loads of drugs, alcohol, all kinds of dark and seedy places. So if you met me a few years ago, I'd be a completely different person, a very different person, So, but you can listen now, because I've done a lot of inner work on myself, a lot of self-reflection. I I can see people for the soul that they are and actually have more love and compassion, because I think, well, actually, I've been where I understand. I've been where you've been. I know your pain. I can hear your pain. I can feel your pain. And that I'm like, I pray that your soul gets it. I pray that you get it. And I pray for your happiness and your health.
Have you watched Soul on Disney yet?
I haven't watched it
You
yet.
need to watch it. You need to watch it. For anyone who's seen Soul, they'll know what I mean, because I really think that this is a great lesson for children and adults, obviously, who watch Disney as well. But it's about seeing people as souls.
Oh, well, there you go. Hey.
You're going to absolutely love it. I can't believe that you haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, no, I haven't watched it, but yeah, so seeing, like, that's what the Buddha teaches, being able to see the soul. So, like, when you engage with the soul rather than the ego, when we start to engage with the ego, that's when we kind of start going to, you see the pit, like the attacky, like they're being awful towards us. But if you see the soul, you can think, well, that soul is so in so much pain and suffering, right? And I think when you see someone like a soul suffering to that extent that they want to hurt, they want to oppress, they want to inflict huge amounts of pain on somebody else, like that deserves a lot of compassion, because that soul must be in despair, right? So much despair, and that like breaks my heart. It really does. It breaks my heart, and I just want to give them a hug. You know what I mean? I just sort of please get well. I hope you get well. Yeah, and it's like. And I can say that now because I've been there, and I've been on both sides. I've been oppressed, and I've been powerless. I've been a victim, as it were. But then I've also been the oppressor. Like, obviously, you know, get in trouble with the police for assault, for God's sake, right, when I was drunk, stuff like that. So I've been both sides. I've been both sides of the same coin of worthlessness. It's a yin-yang version of the same root. Worthlessness. So when I was powerless and I was the victim of sexual abuse, worthlessness. When I was acting out, when someone was in my face and I attacked them, again, worthlessness. It was the worthlessness that was coming out, that was being brought forward into the world. It's the same thing. It's not different. There's pain, there's deep pain, and that is it. So now when you do that healing work, so when I see someone attacking somebody else, I think, you must feel worthless, or whatever it is, shame. Because for you to do that, that is an act of shame, of suffering, of pain. Like it's really easy for us to judge people that, you know, who are like get in trouble with the police and all the time, or whatever it is, the drug dealer or the drug taker, the guy who's shooting heroin or whatever it is, right? It's really easy for us to sit there and judge, but it's the same thing. You know, you might feel worthless at work or whatever, just because you're at work and doing all those kind of things, and you're kind of, it's socially acceptable. Do you know what I mean? Or like the high functioning alcoholics, because they're at work, but they're drinking every single day, 3-4 bottles of wine on night time, whatever it is. They're high functioning, they get up and go to work, as compared to the guy who sat on a park bench who's pissed himself, right? We go, oh, look at him, look at the state of him, but actually still rooted in the same thing: shame, guilt, worthlessness. We need to stop seeing things from the lens of the ego, of this judgment, and see the soul for what it is. A soul that's suffering, a soul that's in pain. How can I help you? How can I serve you? Sometimes you may not be able to help that soul. You know, you've got to want it. For me, I wanted help. I knew when I'd hurt somebody else, that was too much for me. Like the guilt. My mum was worried about me. She thought I was going to do something stupid, because I felt so off. Like it was awful. I just hated myself. I really, really hated myself. So that for me was enough for me to kind of start planting that seed of change within myself. I wanted to be different, because initially I didn't care about myself. When I was on the yin version of worthlessness, I could deal with being treated like shit and all that kind of stuff, but I couldn't deal with hurting other people. That was too much for me. So I had to do something about it. But I was still suffering in both instances. But somebody who would see me would think, God, you're an awful person. How could you do that to somebody? You deserve to be in prison or whatever it is. right? But do I actually, or do I need healing? Do I need somebody to love me and say, you know what, Kyla, I see some good in you. You're all right. You can get through it. Do you know what I mean? But we don't do that.
Yeah,
So
that's a whole new topic of conversation about rehabilitation and prison system as well, isn't it?
Do you know what, Kyla? I turned up today in me blanket and I just wanted some tips for anxiety and calmness for me clients and the podcast listeners, and the fact that we're in lockdown 3 and then we've gone down this route. We've covered oppression, racism, patriarchy, homophobia. We've just taken this whole other thing. I mean, the blanket was off. For the people who aren't watching on video, the blanket came off hours ago.
You give me some bullet points. You need some bullet points. Give me some bullet points. I'm talking about
There's no point. I have bullet points written down and then we don't even cover what I've written. But it's good. We talk about all these important topics that people need to have in their consciousness. So it's all good. What I would like to do, just as a kind of roundup and for the people listening or watching, as a little takeaway, I'm putting you on the spot a little bit here. Is there something that you can give us or do for us all right now, like 2 minutes, whether we're walking, whether we're sat down listening, whatever we're doing? Is there something that we can do, a mindfulness practice together now to raise our vibration, to calm our nerves, anxiety, worry, stress?
Actually, there's it depends if you want to stand up or not.
Well, some people might be able to stand up. Some people might be out walking. Some people might be driving their car. But
yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to think, because the ones that I could do, there's a Wonga Hong, which actually gets to the floor. Right, you can do this later. It's actually called 1 minute healing. Wonga Hong.
Right, let's do it.
Right, so stand up. You stand up.
I'll get rid of my blanket and my chair.
Place your hands here. Yeah. Okay. So if you bend your knees slightly.
Remember, right? Kyla, some people are just listening and they can't see you.
Right. Okay. So my hands. So I've got my right hand facing downwards, and my left hand facing upwards, just above my belly button and just above my groin area ish. Right. Yeah. Can you see it like that? Yeah. Okay. So if you visualize.
It's like you're holding a box in front of your belly, right?
Yeah.
One hand palm down on top of it, one hand palm up below it.
So if you visualize golden lights in and around your lower abdomen, okay. So this will get the chi flowing around your body, okay. So you go, dear soul, mind, body of Wonga Hong. You can say it.
Dear soul, mind, body of Wonga Hong.
Of Wonga Hong, yeah. I love you, honour you, and appreciate you.
I love you, honour you, and appreciate you.
Please offer me a blessing.
Please offer me a blessing.
To ground me in my body at this time.
Ground me in my body at this time.
And if you visualise golden lights in your lower abdomen, and then we're going to say the mantra, Wonga Hong. So I'll do it first time to be like, Wonga Hong. So try that.
Wonga Hong.
Can you feel your body moving?
Well, I'm doing it because you were doing it on the camera.
No. You've got to just let. So be natural, right?
Okay.
So Wonga.
Sorry, I was completely thrown off having to be natural when I was asked to chant on the podcast live.
Yeah. So do it. So you don't you don't force it. You've got to allow your body to move the mantra, right? So do it again. Go on.
Wonga Hong.
Is your eyes closed?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Can you feel like the movement, slight movement starting in your body when you're doing it, when you're chanting it?
I can feel my body weight shifting around in a circle on my feet.
That's what I'm, so basically you're starting to move chi around your body. So when you chant Wong Hong, so you're starting to move the chi around, so it's starting to move that energy back into your body. So that's a really easy one. Or there's this one, to focus on your third eye. You want to do a third eye practice. If anybody's into like focus.
If anybody's still listening at this point.
How long have we been on?
We've been on a week and a half.
Where's the time at? Can't see the time. But anyway, so that's easy, right? So that's one. So that word Wong Hong is an ancient Chinese mantra. So it actually flows. So you talk about Kundalini, the Kundalini awakening and all that sort of stuff. So like in your lower in your lower abdomen, you've got key energy centers. You've got your lower dantian and your Kundalini. So that's good for building immunity, which you need right now. Can't deny that, right? And your vitality, stamina. So if you're into that, so if you want to actually give yourself more energy, if you want to boost your immune system, the Wong Hong mantra, there's loads of different things. You kind of put me on the spot, and that was one I'd done earlier, so I kind of like, oh, let's do this one. That is really good for boosting like the chi and getting it flowing around. So what is it? When the chi is flowing, that's when you have health and vitality. When the chi is blocked, then that is when you're going to get sick.
This is because you've watched Mulan earlier on, isn't it?
No, I was expecting
all the chi flow. That's what it's all about.
I was like, yeah, Mulan, maybe Mulan. I feel like kindred spirits. I'm like, I was explaining to my mum. I was like, so chi is energy, mum. Chi is energy. She's it's a head life force.
Just watch the film, everyone. We are going to wrap this up now because we have been on at least 10 days on this podcast. People have had to listen to it in 3 parts.
Yeah,
and then come onto the YouTube video for reference. So we will wrap it up there. I was going to ask you if you have any book recommendations for people to raise their vibrations during this lockdown.
Soul Healing Miracles. You see,
Soul Healing Miracles.
Yeah, Soul Healing Miracles by Master Shah. There's loads of like really practical techniques in this book for raising your vibration and transforming from the inside out. And it's got a little calligraphy at the back, so you can trace the calligraphy as well if you want to.
That's what we're all about, guys. Transforming from the inside out. Oh yes, oh yes. Hopefully everyone who's listened to this podcast, hopefully you are vibing higher now than you were at the start. That is what I wish for you today. Kyla, thank you so much for speaking to us today. Thank you for teaching us some valuable lessons, as well as dismantling the system with us.
Oh, I love that.
And where can we find you? Where can we hear more about you?
Well, I have got a new group called Awaken Her on Facebook. So you can find me on Facebook. Awaken Her is the
I'll
group.
put a link to that group in the show notes.
So you can find me on that. And you did it for me last time. You said on Instagram, awaken_her. Yeah, you did it for me.
It was at awaken_with. No, at awaken_her_with_love. Awaken her with love, with an underscore in between everything. Marketing person's nightmare. I will also link to that on the show notes.
Yeah, so that's where you can find me. So meditations. I'm going to be doing a challenge. I don't like to call it a challenge. It's called Blessed Out. So the week is called Blessed Out. So it'll be a week of blessings. So I have decided the date yet, but I will put that in there. I'll send you a message on that so you can sort of put it in there. But yeah, so it'll be 3 blessings for the week, but you will have to commit and do practice. So that is the only rule, is you also have to do practice.
I can confirm that you will feel lush if you open your mind and your heart to the blessings.
Yes. You might purge a little bit as well, but that's all good.
Yeah. It's all good.
Ask Georgina.
Yeah. Feeling like crap is a good thing, guys.
The gain is in the drain. The gain is in the drain.
That could be body, mind, or soul, everyone. Right, everyone, have a wonderful day. Hope your lockdown is going okay feel free to message either of us on our Instagram pages, or get involved with the chats in the DMs. Thank you, Kyla. Thank you, everyone. Big love. Talk to you soon.
Ciao.
If you want to improve your well-being in a non-wanky way, you can join hundreds of other like-minded people in my monthly subscription group for live training sessions, daily workouts, nutrition tips, meditations, and more. Only a tenner a month. Email me now, georgina@georginahalltraining.com. Thank you for listening to the Female Empowered podcast. If you want to hear more from us, you can follow us on Instagram @Phemale Empowered, where you can also get involved with our discussions, and feel free to send us a message.